The idea that fear and anger arise from patterns formed in childhood is not new, and it can be easily misunderstood. We might ask, for example, whether it's better to express our anger or to keep it aside. Based on the fact that anger is really a form of accumulated emotional turbulence, it might seem like getting it out is better than holding it. But in terms of spiritual development and even personal safety, simply releasing anger can do much more harm than good, because getting really angry just makes us angrier. Anger is not like a balloon, which deflates when the air is let out. It's more like gasoline. Once it's ignited, the worst thing you can do is add more of it. You should not fuel your anger by simply venting it, and you should also deal with angry feelings as soon as possible after their inception. But since anger and fear have their origins in childhood, it's unlikely that most people have the maturity to process anger at the starting point. The regression exercise that we are going to do now is designed to put you in touch with the experience of being angry as a child. It may help you get rid of anger that arose out of a specific situation, but its real purpose is to help you remember what it felt like to be enveloped by incomprehensible anger. The exercise takes about 10 minutes, so choose a setting where you're not likely to be interrupted. As usual, we'll begin with a brief meditation, so just bring your attention onto your breathing or silently repeat a mantra if you prefer. Now think back to yesterday. Imagine that your memory is a video cassette that you can rewind to any time you choose. Right now, take it back just 24 hours. What were some of the things you did during the day? Was there anything that frightened you or made you angry? It doesn't have to be anything especially important or dramatic. Just an event that shifted your awareness toward fear or anger. You may have felt impatient waiting in line somewhere, or someone may have spoken rudely or inconsiderately to you. For the next 60 seconds, try to remember the events of the day in as much detail as you can. And as you focus on a moment of anger, become aware of the sensation in your body as well as in your thoughts. Now rewind your imaginary video further back. Think back exactly 1 year. Try to recall what you were doing a year ago on this date, or as close to it as you can remember. What was on your mind at that time? Do you recall being worried or angry about anything? Try to feel the sensation in your physical self. Does it feel the same as when you thought of how you felt just yesterday? Is it less intense or more so? Now go back to when you were a teenager. Again, focus on a situation that made you angry or frightened. Feel the sensation. Relive what you felt both physically and emotionally. Can you see how the anger that you've experienced recently has been built on emotions that came much earlier? Allow yourself to recall this feeling for the next minute. Now see if you can remember even further back. Rewind your imaginary tape once again. Remember when you were a child or even a toddler if you can. What's the earliest time in your life that you can recall being angry? Call that experience up in your mind. Where were you when it happened? Who else was there? Who or what was it that made you so angry? Feel the sensation. Feel it as vividly and as powerfully as you can over the next 60 seconds. Now we are about to begin the most important part of this exercise. We've seen how feelings of anger and fear have accumulated over the years. We've seen how every day provides new occasions for hostility and emotional turbulence. But there was a time before any of this took place. In your mother's womb, you inhabited an environment of nearly perfect bliss. Although a lot of people cannot consciously remember what life was like before birth, the memory of that experience still exists in every cell of your body. It's a memory of utter peace and tranquility. There was neither past nor future. There was no sense of separation from your surroundings. So there was no ego or ego-driven desires. There was nothing to be afraid of. So there was no possibility of getting angry either. In your imagination, try to visualize what that experience of bliss might have been like. Focus on this experience for the next minute. Rewind the tape of your memory until the screen goes black and feel the boundaries evaporate between yourself and your surroundings. For the next minute, feel the total loss of all your accumulated anger, fear, and ego. Now, with that experience of total bliss still occupying your consciousness, begin to move your videocassette forward again. Visit the points in time we envisioned earlier, the angry and fearful moments from your childhood, from your teenage years, from 1 year ago, from yesterday. As you envision these scenes, introduce the experience of prenatal bliss into the setting. Instead of allowing one moment of anger to build on another, begin to erase these moments one by one, from earliest childhood to just yesterday. Spend the next minute feeling the fear and anger being rendered invisible by this memory of perfect oneness. Just as the images on a videocassette can be erased, allow the toxic feelings of many years to be erased by the oneness with Spirit that is your original and authentic self. Please open your eyes. I hope it's clear that the exercise we've just completed is something very different from simply letting your anger out. Instead, it erases anger as if the feeling were a message written in disappearing ink. You can use this videotape technique at any point during the day or in the evening just before you go to sleep. It's really an excellent method for attacking the problem of anger at its deepest roots.